What's going on, y'all? It's your man Pristine back with another video. Welcome to the Pristine review for the Alcatel Idol 5S. Now, I've had this phone for about 2.5 or 3 weeks, and I gotta say, I'm absolutely loving this device. I think that this has to be one of the best mid-range considered phones that you can get your hands on right now, especially for the price point. You can get this phone right now on Amazon for $199 plus taxes. Now, that's the Amazon Prime ad version. Okay, and you guys have seen these things before. If you haven't, when you unlock the device, it's going to pull up your screen where your notifications are, and then there's going to be a little Amazon ad right there. Totally non-intrusive in my personal opinion. If you want to get rid of it, you can just simply swipe it away, and it just brings up all your your other notifications right there. Touch the fingerprint sensor again, and it completely unlocks the device, and that's where it gets you to your apps and all of that sort of thing. So if you don't mind the ad version, you can get this right now on Amazon for $199. Now, the regular retail price for this phone is $279.99. So, if you pay the $199 for the Amazon ad version, you're saving yourself $80, and I really feel as though that is worth it. Not to say that this device isn't worth the $80 more, because even I think that $279.99 is a great price for this particular package. But if you can get it for $80 cheaper, it's like, why not take advantage of that? And I know that there must be some way that you can disable all the Amazon ads and things of that nature. Now, I've yet to come across how to do so. So if one of you guys knows how to do that, go ahead and hit me up and let me know. But $199 for the Amazon ad variant, $279.99 full retail price for just the regular unlocked variant. Okay. Now, typically when I do these reviews, there's a specific formula that I use, and there's a list that I go down. First, I talk about the specs, the build, the performance, the cameras, the battery, talk about any additional features, and then I get into my final thoughts and close out the video. So I'm going to do things in that exact order. So first off, I just want to hit you guys with the specs that this package is housing really quickly. Now, first off, we've got a 5.2 inch full 1080p display, and the display is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, we've got a Snapdragon 625 processor, we've got 3 gigs of RAM, we've got 32 gigs of onboard storage that can be expanded up to, get this, it can be expanded up to 512 gigs. Usually you can expand memory up to 256 gigs, which is a lot, but 512, I can't say that I recall a device that you can expand the memory to that much. Unless you buy a phone, that, has that memory in there, which you'll be paying some serious money for. But yeah, you can expand the memory up to 512 gigs. We've got an Adreno 506, and we've got a 424 PPI pixel density for all the techies out there. Now, that's all those specs together that I just named off. I mean, the performance of this particular device is absolutely amazing in my opinion. The Snapdragon 625, as we all know, is one of the most power efficient, most reliable processors that there is. And so, some people, they refer to, phones that have the 625 processor as like a dumbed down processor. I don't think so. I've seen some phones that have the 625 really go toe to toe and stand their own against the Snapdragon 820s, 821s. I mean, even the 835 processor, which is considered the latest and the greatest these days, a lot of the stuff, you're not going to notice too many differences, especially if you're just an average user who just browses the web, checks email from time to time, makes calls and text messages, maybe stream a little video footage on YouTube and stuff like that. I mean, where you're really going to start to notice differences, it's like if you're doing like heavy gaming and things of that nature, real graphic intense games, and you can still do those on devices that have a 625 processor, but that's where a lot of that additional power comes in when you're talking about the Snapdragon 821s and the 835s and things of that nature, just being able to handle those things buttery smooth, but the 625 processor, I mean, your basic use, multitasking, all those things are going to be an absolute breeze with the 625 processor. Okay, now the build quality. I love the build quality. We've got glass on the front and back. We've got what is the glass? It's the Asahi Dragon Trail glass with heliophobic coating, so that helps with fingerprint smudges. You can see, I mean, it's glass front and back. but you don't see any, you rarely see any fingerprints on this device. I mean, I don't want to say that, it's impervious to fingerprints, because you can definitely smudge it up, but it's not as bad as other glass phones that I've seen that are just complete fingerprint magnets. And so the oleophobic coating helps with that, and it also helps with the viewing angles as well. Like if you're viewing your phone in light, or like if you're outside in direct sunlight, you really can tell the difference between holding a phone that doesn't have the oleophobic coating versus a phone that does have it. I mean, glares and things tend to be a lot less intrusive, so I really like the fact that Alcatel implemented that on this particular device. The phone, I mean, it's a very premium feeling phone. It feels just like, very similar to the Idol 4 and the 4S. You still got your front-facing speakers here on the top and bottom. The top button acts as a receiver, for calls and things of that nature. But you can see right here, we've got a little LED notification light. Here is our 8-megapixel front-facing camera. To the bottom of the device, there is, we've just got the bottom firing speaker right there. There's no branding or anything like that on the bottom. Now, one of the things that I question about this device is I don't really understand the button placement. Now, I like the fact that the volume rocker is on the right side of the device, but it's like, why not put the power button right underneath the volume rocker, which is typically where it's at. Now, if you swing around to the left side of the phone, then that's where you're going to find your power button. And there is some rigidity right there, so you definitely know that that is the power button and the sleep button. And you've also got your SIM tray right here. But I don't really understand the logic behind having, I mean, unless you hold your phone with your left hand. I mean, I guess they wanted to make it, so that it's an ambidextrous device. I mean, so for people that hold their phone with their right hand, then hey, you can just reach up with your right thumb and control the volume. For people that, hold their phone with their left hand, then you can just reach up with your thumb and, hit the power and the sleep button. Personally, for me, I mean, I prefer for the buttons to all be on the same side so that I can, toggle the volume or, put the phone to sleep, if that's what I want to do, as opposed to having to either reach up, and this feels awkward, but having to reach up and touch the power button with my finger, say, if I'm somebody that just doesn't want to, use the fingerprint sensor, which is on the back right here. And I'm glad that this phone has that. But believe it or not, I mean, you do have some people out there that don't want to mess with the fingerprint sensor for whatever reason. They're much more comfortable with still putting in a password or a passcode with their finger or a PIN number. And so this phone, it doesn't have, from what I can tell, as far as it doesn't have the feature where you can like double tap to wake or to sleep. So if you don't want to use your fingerprint sensor, you're going to have to, touch the power button to unlock the device. Which then you'd swipe up and then it just takes you to, the number screen for you to, put in your PIN code and stuff like that to unlock your device. To me, that's prehistoric. I mean, it's 2017. I mean, it's all about, fingerprint sensors and face detection and retina scanning and things of that nature. But, to each his own, So, I'm not really feeling the button placement, but, no phone is perfect, and I can easily look past that. All right, so we've got an antenna line right here that is totally non-intrusive. We've got a dedicated microphone here at the top of the device. As I mentioned, to the left of the phone, we've got the power and the sleep button along with the SIM tray. And then to the back of the phone, we've got the idle branding that is right underneath the fingerprint sensor right here. We've got our 12 megapixel rear facing camera with the dual tone LED flash. And then toward the bottom, that's when we got the Alcatel branding. Now, also on the bottom of the devices, this is where we've got our 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. We've got another antenna line right there, another noise canceling microphone. And then this year we do have a Type-C adapter, that supports Quick Charge 2.0. We do have another antenna line right here that's just to the right of the Type-C port. So I like the fact that, Alcatel, they implemented, the Type-C connector. Again, we still have the dual front-facing speakers that sound amazing. I'll test those out here in a little while for you guys. But that's the build quality. I mean, so, and just, we've got this metal or aluminum around the sides and the back and around the top of the phone, and it just looks, it's a really nice premium looking device. I mean, I love the color combination of the black and the silver. You guys already know, I mean, those of you that rock with me, I mean, most of the phones that I get, well, all the phones that I get out of all the different color variations, I always get black. I always get black, and I believe that this is the only color option that you can get with this particular device, which I'm not mad at, because y'all say it with me, all black everything, no racist. All right, now moving right along to performance. Now again, as I mentioned earlier in the video, mentioned the specs, the performance has been nothing short than stellar. You know, again, this is the Snapdragon 625 processor coupled with 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of onboard storage. And using this device has been an absolute joy. There's been zero lag, zero stutters. Even when trying to get this device to stutter, I can't get it to do so. You know, it performs like a champion. You know, apps, they open up very swiftly. I'm connected to my Wi-Fi right now. You guys go ahead and focus on that so it come in clearly. Touch that right there. And you guys go ahead and get that word up in you, man. Go ahead and pause that. But yeah, you know, apps, they just open up in a very, very, very snappy fashion. Let's go to Google, just open up a few things just to give you guys an idea. No, not shopping. Go to Chrome. All right, Gmail, Maps. Very solid performing device. Google Drive. And I'm just opening up some apps for you guys, just so you guys can get the gist of how snappy this phone is. And again, this is on my Wi-Fi. You know, I've got Comcast Xfinity Wi-Fi. You know, but it's just as buttery smooth on my 4G LTE connection through T-Mobile. So, you know, this is it's an excellent performing device. I mean, I haven't had any stutters, any lags, no hiccups whatsoever. And I think anybody that uses this device is just going to find it to be an absolute joy to use. RAM management is solid. You'll see here, got a few apps open. Click back on Maps. It doesn't have to fully reload the page. It just pops right back into the screen where you once were. So, you know, we do have the option there to completely clean out all the apps at once. And let's see, we do have an app drawer. So, you know, this is where we have, you know, the app drawer. This is a stock Android experience, just with the exception, again, as I mentioned, this is the Amazon variant. And so you do have some Amazon bloatware, not too much, you know, again, in my personal opinion, I mean, it's totally non-intrusive. Now, this phone is VR compatible. I'm not sure if you guys still have your VR headset that came with the Alcatel Idol 4 and the 4S from last year in 2016. But there was a VR headset that came with that device, and this device is also compatible with that VR headset. So if you guys still have that VR headset, you can definitely use it with this particular phone. I still have mine. I'm not really a big fan of the VR thing. I haven't tested it out, but it is nice to know that you've got that functionality. There is a couple of apps, VR Home and VR Store, if you want to make purchases through the Alcatel VR site using the VR. And I believe that the VR is sold as a separate accessory if that's something that you want to buy on its own. But I still have mine from last year when I got my Alcatel Idol 4. Actually, I've got two of them, because I got the 4 from Cricket, and then I got the 4S, the Windows 10 version, from T-Mobile, and it came with both packages. So, you know, Alcatel, they really went all out last year, you know, with providing the phone, case, screen protector, VR set. This year, you just get the phone. They didn't jam pack the phone with everything that you need. You get the phone, the Type-C connector, the cord, and some literature. But hey, for $199, trust me, man, I'm not tripping. And I mean, again, that's a hell of a price for the device that you're getting. All right, now that covers the performance. Now the cameras, okay, as I mentioned, to the rear here, we've got a 12 megapixel rear facing camera. Okay, that's an f2.0 aperture. Features phase detection, autofocus, dual LED dual tone flash. We've got a 1/2.8 sensor, pixel size, geotagging, touch focus, face detection, HDR, and panorama. Videos are 1080p at 30 frames per second, no 4K. Now, the front-facing camera, which is right here, right underneath the receiver, this is an 8 megapixel shooter with an f2.0 aperture, 1/3.2 sensor size, and got my little cheat sheet right here. It doesn't say, well, that also records in 1080p, in full 1080p at 30 frames per second, I believe, as well. So very solid cameras on this particular device. They exceeded my expectations. Not to say that I was expecting them to be bad, but they really exceeded my expectations. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna step aside. I'm gonna, let you guys see some photos and some videos that I took with this device, and then I'll come back with final thoughts and things of that nature. All right, you guys hang tight. Check these out and enjoy this. What's going on, y'all? This your man Pristine doing a quick video with the selfie camera here on the Alcatel Idol 5S. Alright, now as I mentioned earlier in the video, the selfie camera is an 8 megapixel shooter, and it is a good one. The only thing that I think is missing from this particular package is optical image stabilization. So expect when you're shooting videos, they're going to be a little shaky. Now, it helps if you've got a steady hand, but if you're one of those types of persons where your hand's a little shaky and unsteady, then that's exactly how your videos are going to look, which can be an annoyance to somebody who's actually trying to watch the video. But aside from that, as far as the picture quality is concerned, the sharpness, the detail, all that stuff is definitely going to be on point and on par with some of the best cameras that are out there on the market today. Now, I do have to say that the camera here has definitely exceeded my expectations. Not to say that I was expecting for it to be bad. And, the cameras on the 4 and the 4S were decent, but they needed some tweaking, and I can definitely see the improvement in which Alcatel has made in this particular package. Okay, so expect to take some really, really good, solid-looking photos and videos with the 8 megapixel selfie cam here on the Alcatel Idol 5S. Why? Why, you ask? Because Pristine told you so. Alright, now stay tuned. I'm going to swing it around to the back. I'm going to get some camera quality footage with the 12 megapixel shooter that is on the back of this bad boy. Show you guys some still shots that I've taken with this camera. I've got some beautiful still shots that I've taken, and then I'll be back with my final thoughts for the video. So stay tuned. Alright? Yeah. Okay, y'all, this your man Pristine. Like I just mentioned, I told you I was going to swing the phone around to the rear-facing 12 megapixel sensor that is on the back of the device and get some video footage. Now, I'm still in my backyard. Y'all don't judge me, but as you can see, we need some landscape work. So if you guys know somebody, holla at your boy if you're in the Seattle area, man. But I'm going to just stroll around here in my backyard. Now, we got this little table set up that my wife and I like to sit out here and chill from time to time. Maybe we'll have some dinner once it cools off. It's hot as hell out here right now, man. The devil is out here doing the two-step for sure. You know what I'm saying? It's blazing out in this joint. So I'm going to be out here too long. But we got some little toys and things out here. We let the girls play out here and everything. So I'm going to just stroll around. As you can see, everything looks really good. Crystal clear. All right. Now I'm going to stroll on for a little bit. Like I said, in the selfie video, or the front-facing selfie camera, that the only thing that's missing from this is optical image stabilization. And so you're going to notice that the videos are a little shaky. Now, I'm kind of walking gingerly. I don't want to just stroll how I normally stroll because the videos, you know what? Well, whatever. Just get my stroll on, man. That's what the whole purpose of this is for, just to give you guys an idea of what it's like when you're rocking with a phone. So, I'm going to go ahead and get my pimp strut on, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, leaning and rocking with it, Now I'm just walking regularly. Okay. But as you can see, as far as how it looks, the detail, the color, it's bright outside. The camera is just I'm watching how it's just, the autofocus is phenomenal, just how it's focusing in on objects as I'm moving around. Again, as I mentioned, I can definitely see the improvement from the 4 and the 4S. Those cameras were decent. But these cameras, the cameras have been upgraded, which they should be, each device that comes out. So kudos to Alcatel. Again, optical image stabilization will make the experience a little better, but I can't say that the experience is terrible. It's not bad at all. Camera quality looks amazing. True to life colors, natural, very natural looking, very detailed and sharp. This is a solid camera, in my personal opinion. All right. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, and we'll discuss it. All right. All right. Stay tuned for the still shots. Hey, what's up, y'all? Okay, so it's your man Pristine back in. I hope you guys enjoyed the video quality footage, the still shot footage that I took with the rear and the front facing camera here on the Alcatel Auto 5S. Very solid looking photos. Again, you know, the experience would be much better if it had optical image stabilization. But again, you know, for a budget device, which is what this is being considered, I mean, you can't really expect it to have everything. But I again, as I mentioned, I really do see the improvements that Alcatel has made to the camera, both front and back. And I think that just about anybody that uses this device will be completely satisfied with the way that these cameras perform. Now moving around to the battery life. Now the battery, we've got a non-removable 2,620 milliamp hour battery. So 2620 milliamps, non-removable. Now some of you guys may hear that and just automatically assume that, wow, okay, you know, the battery, it's trash, it's a small battery. Why is the battery so small? How come it couldn't have at least been at 3,000 just to kind of, you know, squeak out more battery life? Again, all I need to see when I see a battery this size is, you know, what's the processor? Again, we've got a Snapdragon 625. So the way I see it, if you've got a Snapdragon 625 processor, which again is one of the most proven, most power efficient processors that there is, if not the most power efficient processor that there is, this size battery does not affect me whatsoever, because I know that the processor is optimized to get excellent battery life. And that's exactly what I've gotten with this particular device. It doesn't matter that it has a 2620 milliamp hour battery. The battery has lasted me a day and a half on one charge. Now again, this is going to be different with usage. Everybody uses their phone differently. Me, I feel like I fall under the moderate user category. Okay, I'm not a heavy user with my phone. I talk on my phone because it's a phone. That's what it's meant to be. That's what it's meant to be, you know, used for, to talk on it. I talk on it. I text. I turn off my auto sync. You know, I've got computers and tablets and things to check my email. I never need to check my email from my phone. I never need to have auto sync on that is constantly notifying me of all the emails that I get. And I got like 4 different email accounts. I mean, so you're talking about a lot of email. I don't need my emails every other minute being notified that an email is coming through, because that fries your battery. I turn off Bluetooth when I'm not using it. I turn off Wi-Fi when I'm not using it. GPS, I turn off GPS if I'm not using it. I rarely ever use GPS and maps and things of that nature. So it's like I do my self optimizations to really help sustain the battery life. But of course, the phone does have battery optimization capabilities as well that you can utilize. And so you do have those features and functionalities on the device if you want to squeak out as much battery life as you can. But I just want to say to all of you out there, don't look at the battery and think that this phone is a battery slouch by any means necessary, because it's got a 625 Snapdragon processor, which again, as I mentioned, is one of the most power efficient processors that you can get your hands on. And it's a beast. I mean, it's a really good performing processor and it's power efficient. So it's built and optimized to give you the best battery performance possible. Okay. Like I said, I've easily gotten through a day and a half on one charge. I'm talking about, I feel like I used it. There was a day last week I was at work, and I always just like to kind of use this because I work 12-hour shifts. I work in the medical field. I work from 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Okay. Some days, when it's really busy, I don't have time to be on my phone. Other days when we don't have that much patient traffic coming in, I'm on my phone, I'm texting, I'm talking, I'm looking at content on YouTube, I'm streaming music on Spotify. I'm doing a little more the more that I've got time to do things on my phone. And even with heavy use, at the end of the day, before I was getting ready to lay my head down, I still had 25% battery life left. You see what I'm saying? So I've easily gotten 5 hours of screen on time on this device, between 4.5 and 5 hours. with no problems. Okay, that's not bad for a battery this small. But again, attribute that to the Snapdragon 625 processor and all the battery optimizations that lie within this particular device. Okay, so you're going to be good even though the battery isn't as big. Don't let that be a deterrent as to why you don't choose this particular device. It's a very solid device. Now, as far as additional features, as I mentioned, we do have a fingerprint sensor here on the rear, which is extremely responsive, by the way. And you do have the ability to, when you swipe down on it, you can bring down your notification shade. Swipe up, you can get rid of your notification shade. Okay. When you go to photos, okay, swipe videos, or swipe through my photos that I've taken just by swiping left or right. I love that feature. That's pretty dope. Now we do have some gestures here. If we go to the settings, and as I mentioned, this is a stock Android, or very close to stock Android device. Oh, that's the app drawer. Go to settings. We've got some gestures here. We've got glove mode. We've got, turn over to mute. We've got three finger screenshot. Those are some pretty nice features to have. Again, we've got the dual front-facing speakers, which is a great feature to have. Now, these aren't the JBL certified speakers, but they sound extremely well. I mean, these speakers, they rock. You can see where I've got my volumes at. Okay? My ring volume, notification volume, media volume, and alarm volume. Really, the only two things that I'm really concerned with here is my ring volume and my notification volume. I don't use my phones for, alarms. And, usually I just have a Bluetooth device, but I do have to test these speakers on these phones just to see how they sound. But this isn't really a big deal to me just because I stay on Bluetooth, so oftentimes, when my phone rings, I can hear it through my Bluetooth in my ear, and it's one of those Bluetooths where it will announce, who's calling or announce the phone number. I can answer the phone or reject the call all from my Bluetooth using my, just using my voice. But it still is nice to have a good sounding speaker system on the phone, and so again, you've got the dual front facing speakers here, which sound amazing. Now, the only thing is on the Idol 4 and the 4S, you had the speakers that were front and back. So it didn't really matter the orientation in which you had the phone. If you were listening to music and you had the phone face up, it's going to sound phenomenal. If you turned it around and had it face down, it's still going to sound the same because you had the speaker ports on the front and the back. So it didn't really matter the orientation in which you held the device. You can have it on its face, you can have it on its back. The sound is going to be the same. They didn't implement that here on the 5S. And so if you're watching videos or listening to music or anything of that nature, you're going to have the phone facing you to really get that optimum sound. If you put it on its face, you're going to get muffled sound. Okay? Period. That's what it is. Now, me, I'm not the type of person to, watch any kind of content and have the phone face down. So, that's not really a big deal to me, so I'm just happy about the fact that we do have front-facing speakers that sound amazing. These are stereo speakers. There are audio customizations and presets that you can use to really tweak the sound and customize it to your liking. Yeah, those are just some features right there that this phone does possess. Let's go down to settings and see if we've got anything more that I can think of or that I can see. That's about it as far as additional features. I mean, aside from that, it's more of a straightforward stock Android experience, minus the Amazon bloatware. But my final thoughts for this particular device here with the Alcatel Idol 5S, I have to say that this is a really, really solid device, and I can definitely recommend it to anybody. Okay, it's got a very sleek, very attractive looking body style. You've got the two-tone color, the black the black glass on the front and back with the silver trim around the sides, the top and the bottom of the phone. We've got a headphone jack, we've got Type-C connectivity. We've got a really nice 8 megapixel selfie camera. We've got a really nice 12 megapixel rear facing camera, fingerprint sensor that is very responsive. Snapdragon 625 processor, which is one of the most power efficient processors that is in the market right now. Excellent performance. Call quality sounds amazing with these front facing speakers. As I mentioned, this is the receiver here at the top. I mean, it sounds just like you're speaking on a landline. Other people that I've talked to on the other end, they tell me that I sound really good on the phone. So the call quality is absolutely amazing. All for $200. If you can't stand the ads, it's going to cost you $280. If you don't mind the ads, you can get this phone right now on Amazon for $199. And to me, ladies and gentlemen, is an absolute steal. That's what I'm talking about. Getting a good quality smartphone that's going to do exactly what you need it to do, and it's not going to break the bank. And I think that a lot of us, we need to keep it real with ourselves and ask ourselves, when dealing with the smartphone, what exactly do we need? A lot of people are walking around, with smartphones that they paid hundreds of dollars for, or they're making payments on the phone, and more than the majority of the things that phone possesses, people aren't even using. They're not even using these things. So it's a fad. They get caught up in the hype. They get caught up in thinking that, oh, well, this is the latest and the greatest, and so I have to have it. That's not true. So and that's another reason why I do these videos, just to kind of bring light and shed light on devices like this that a lot of people don't know about. A lot of people, I can, tell people, some people have asked me, man, what phone is that, man? That's a very attractive looking device. What kind of Samsung is that? Or what kind of iPhone is that? Like, it's neither one. It's the Alcatel Idol 5S. Oh, well, what's that? And that's my point. A lot of these phones, they're not getting the push or the recognition, you know what I mean, that a lot of these other major, phone companies are getting, like Apple, Samsung, LG, HTC, I really try to, shed light on a lot of phones like this so that they can start to gain some traction, and just let people know that, man, there are phones out there that aren't going to break the bank, that are going to do exactly what you need them to do and some, and do them well. So can I recommend this device? Absolutely, I can recommend this device. I'd have to say, consider that this is being considered a budget phone. I'd have to say that this is the top budget phone right now. Now, some people may argue that, because I know you got the Moto G5 Plus out there, and now they're getting ready to drop the Moto G5 S Plus, so, when they drop that, we'll have to see. But I'd have to say you can't really go wrong with the Moto G5 Plus or this package right now. I have to say that those two right now, as far as the budget king, are neck and neck. They're sharing the title. You know what I mean? Because this is a damn good device, but that Moto G5 is also a damn good device as well. And that phone is $229.99. And you can also get that on Amazon for a discounted price if you get the ad version. So that may be another option that you guys may want to look into as well, if the Alcatel Idol 5S here doesn't tickle your fancy. All right. So that's all I got right now, y'all. This is the Alcatel Idol 5S. I'm your man, Pristine. Thank you all for tuning in. If you found any value in this video at all whatsoever, you already know what to do. Click that like button, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't already, to expose yourself to tons of videos that I've done like this one, and stay tuned because there's going to be much more videos to come. If you've got somebody that you know of that's looking for a nice device, that are trying to save some money, share the video. Let people, see this device, inform them that this is an option that they have. Okay. And I look forward to talking to you guys in the next one, man. You already know. Please stay safe, stay blessed. It's never too late to get spiritually fit. Get your lives right with Christ, y'all, if you haven't already, man. You know what I mean? Because we're definitely living in the last days. I'm not trying to preach, but I'm a spiritual person, and I'm a firm believer in Christ. I try to live my life right. I try to make the right decisions. I'm nowhere near perfect. God is working on me all day, every day. I'm a work in progress. I'm nowhere near perfect. But I will say that I have accepted the Lord Savior Jesus Christ in my life. And I know that, a lot of the reason why, I am who I am, and a lot of the things that are happening in my life, positive things, are taking place because of my relationship with Christ. I mean, he's a loving God, and all he wants us to do is accept him and trust in him and follow his will. Lean not on our own understanding, but follow his will for our lives, man. And we'll be good. You know what I mean? So, man, not trying to preach, but I do want to utilize these videos to witness to you guys God's grace, his love, and his mercy, man. We'd be nowhere without it. We would have been dead a long time ago. It's what he died for. He shed his blood for us. You know what I mean? So, keep that in mind, y'all. Get spiritually fit. It's never too late. God is always ready to start over. And keep it pristine, man, in every aspect of your lives, man. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. I'll holler. Peace.